Once again, I'd like to introduce my guest, Mr. Dave Story. Thank you for being here tonight.
Nice to be here, John.
On tonight's show, we're going to discuss how parents can get involved with kids. Last time we discussed how kids get involved with parents. So this is a show really for parents, but kids can watch it also. I think the first thing we should talk about is communication. How can parents better communicate with their kids?
Well, I personally think that when they become aware of the fact that kids are kids, you know, and that they do things that like other people do, where they're just human and growing up, and it's not easy for kids today, you know. It's harder. Kids are being they're being thought that they have to jump into the fast lane of life. They have to grow up overnight. They're not allowed to grow up anymore. Some of the things that they say to kids have a tremendous effect on their lives. An example of that is when I was a kid, my dad used to tell me, "You're never going to amount to nothing, man. You're like, you ain't no good." But he never took the time to really spend any time with me either. There were times that I was really athletically inclined when I was a kid. I really believe I could have been a pro ball player, a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get
Certainly
my dad to go out.
for that.
I couldn't get my dad to go out and play ball with me. I couldn't get him to come and watch me play ball. He was too busy.
So you think spending time is a lot of it? The parents are too wrapped up in their...
Too wrapped up in their own thing, too wrapped up into the hustle bustle of life and making money and making ends meet. Listen, I know it's hard to make ends meet, but you know, we're a blessed country, John. Let's face it, man. I mean, if you want to see some problems, you can go over to India and look at 10,000 that are dying every day of malnutrition. We don't got any problems yet. There's still help here. There's still people who care. Consequently, I don't think parents need to spend as much time out in the world trying to make money to become better than somebody else. You know, I think we need to spend more time with our families. You know, what happened to the family time? What happened to a family time at nighttime after dinner and we're sitting around instead of watching that boob tube like most of them do? Why can't we put the family together and maybe read or discuss what happened for the day? So kids can feel like they belong. You know, I don't think kids feel like they belong anymore. They're sort of being pushed off. A good example of that when I was a kid, a real young kid, and listen, I'm not down on my parents. I love them, and I still do to this day.
You still see them?
No, I don't see them, either one of them. But I pray for them every day, and I believe God's going to turn their lives around. I really believe that. They've been divorced for many, many years, and my dad remarried another woman. My mother got into drinking pretty heavy and different things, but
Your mother was an alcoholic then too?
I guess you'd call her an alcoholic, yeah. And she got a lot of problems. But you know, the thing is that there was never any communication in my family, none at all. We couldn't relate. My sister ran away at 14 years old, you know, and she was gone for over a year. There was no communication there. Being the younger brother, me and my brother, you know, we saw all this going on. You know, consequently, the wheels tightened up on us. My parents started using more discipline on me and my brother, thinking that, you know, maybe there wasn't enough. There was too much. There's a balance that I'd like to relate to the parents that I think is really important in our life today. I think that discipline is very, very important, but along with discipline comes love. Mm-hmm. And John, there's a balance there. There's, in other words, the Bible says, and I'll use the Bible because it's a good example, that God, the Father, chastises, disciplines those who He loveth. In other words, if I'm your dad, and naturally I've got a lot of love for you, and you did something wrong, I would have to discipline you for it. That shows love. If I did not discipline you for it, I would say to you, hey man, you can just go do your thing. I don't care about you. You see, well, kids, that gets into kids today. Kids think, they're not stupid. Kids aren't dumb today. They're a lot smarter than when I was a kid. But I was going to say when we were kids, and you're still a kid. But they're not stupid today. You know, those things hurt. You know, mm-hmm. they leave scars in kids, and they think, well, wow, man, my parents, you know, they don't care about me, you know, enough. parents all of a sudden they see the grades going down in school, the kid's not doing as well. Instead of stopping and thinking, hey, I got a problem here, what's my kid doing? They're thinking, well, it's adolescence, you know, he's just going through a stage, he'll come out of it. No, not necessarily. He could be going through a stage all right, but he could be going downhill and downhill fast. There could be a peer pressure that the parents aren't even thinking about. In other words, all the other kids in school are doing drugs, so he's got to do drugs. You know, all the other kids at school are doing this, so he's got to do these things. You know, so consequently, if there's no relationship at home, he's starting to look for it somewhere else. You know, and that happens in a lot of families today. And of course, a broken home makes it even worse, makes it even harder for the parent to communicate with the child. But parent, let me tell you this: that let me just say that there are people who care. There are people who will help you with your kids. I think we need to go back to reaching out for a little bit of help, you know.
Do you think people did more of that?
Yes, definitely. I mean, when we had a problem, we got with it and worked with it.
Do you think it's harder for parents today to raise children?
Oh, without a doubt.
How come?
Oh, look at the society. You know, look at what's going on. Look at it.
It's just easier for kids to get involved with that stuff, and parents have to really watch out for it.
Without a doubt. And then kids, like I said, they're being made to think they have to grow up overnight and become adults. Yeah. What's wrong with kids growing up being kids? You know, there's a lot of problems in what we're talking about right now. There's a lot of things. An example of this is a parent working full-time. It's just a one-parent family now, working full-time, trying to make the ends meet. The kid sits around, watches the boob tube all the time. As far as I'm concerned, I could throw the TV out in the street because it isn't got anything really that great on it. No, honestly, I mean, honestly, I don't see
So you don't watch TV
shows.
then?
No, sir. I ain't got much time for it at all. Kids are glued to it, you know. What are they learning when they watch TV? What are they seeing? You know, we're seeing sex shows today. You're hearing language that ought not hear. Kids, they're watching cops and the robbers, and 9 times out of 10 the robbers are winning now. You know, this is what's being implanted in their minds. Consequently, when they go wrong, the parents are thinking, well, what's wrong with my kid? I mean, where did I fail? In a lot of cases, you know, the parents fail because they're not thinking, you know. You know, that if the Bible says that if you raise them in the way they should go, they will not, I repeat, they will not depart. Now listen to this just for a minute. When I was a kid, a real little kid, my parents used to take my brother and I and my sister and drop us off at church. Now, I don't know whether they were looking for a babysitter or what. They were busy people making money, trying to get ahead. Consequently, both my parents have a lot of money today. That's great. Good for them. Okay. But they did drop us off at church. I thank God that they cared enough about us kids that that's where they sent us. They never went. Isn't it strange today that all 3 of us kids are Christians? But my parents, neither one of them served.
So you have 2, what are they, brothers, sisters?
I have a brother, twin brother, and a sister. And all 3 of us are Christians, and my parents aren't.
Were your brother and sister like you were for a while?
My brother was involved in, yes, definitely, both of them were. Not.
But they both turned themselves around like you?
Oh, yes, without a doubt.
Do you see them a lot?
My brother, I live right next door to him now. We live on the same 5 acres up in Idaho. My sister lives in Los Angeles County, but I have seen her at different times. But we were like all outcasts. My sister was an outcast in our family, you know.
Yeah. But now you do have a real family then?
Not really. I might just say that the only thing I really have is my brother, mostly.
And then you're married?
Yes, I have a wife. My 6th wife.
Your 6th wife?
I didn't find this one in the bar where I found the other 5. This one I found.
Is that so? You were married 5 times?
Prior to this.
Before 6 years ago, then?
Before, yeah.
While you were still getting in trouble and stuff. So they were real short marriages then?
Yeah, didn't last very long, any of them.
But this one's for real, you think?
Yeah, oh, without a doubt. Yeah, because we have a foundation in our lives. And Jesus Christ is our foundation. We base our life on Him and the Bible and reading the Bible every day. And yeah, brother, it's done a change in me like you can't imagine, man. And now I'm able to go around the world and help people, help kids to understand, you know. A lot of people would look down on a guy like me. They say, well, what's this guy, man? He's been no good all of his life. But Let me tell you, it takes somebody like me to relate to some of the things that are going on today. It's a sure sense that some of the parents aren't seeing it. I think parents need to be more aware of what's going on around them. I think that instead of running from the problems, we need to face the problems. Reach out for your kids. Instead of telling them, hey, they're not ever going to be any good, put something into them that's going to give them a little stronger go. Tell them that, hey, they can make it. They will make it. Just be positive.
You think the same goes for kids, to reach out to their parents?
Definitely. Definitely.
And as long as they both do it, you think you'll...
I'm not putting it on the parents, believe me, because there's a lot of kids. Well, an example of that, there are parents are taking their belligerent kids to court today, getting restraining orders against them because they can't control them. Now, you can't really blame the parent. I mean, they got to do something. In most cases, it's broken homes. Again, where there's the man around, generally the family, as a rule, can be pretty good. Because when a kid reaches a certain age, he definitely needs a dad.
But you think both parents are equally important, though?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. You can't do without one or the other. And I think kids that are in broken home definitely have a harder time making it. And I think if we would look at the crime rate, look at the people who are locked up in prison jail, you'll find that the biggest percentage of them come from broken homes.
You mean divorced?
Yes.
Or what about it, though, if they're living together and fight all the time and stuff? Do you think that would cause the same effect?
Without a doubt. If you've got drugs in your family, if parents are... I've talked to hundreds of kids since I've been here in your town already that say, my parents are alcoholics, they drink, and all they do is fight. You know?
So
consequently, there's no communication. Who cares about that kid, man? Let him go do his thing, you know? But we need to go back to what the family really means, and I believe that Bible, well, I'll tell you. You know, I bet there's a Bible in every home in this town, but I wonder how long it's been since any one of them looked in it. That scares me. I think we need to open it up, and I think we can bring that relationship, that real family relationship, back together. I think we base it on the Bible.
So I take it you read the Bible regularly?
Day, brother.
Every day?
Never miss a day. Yeah.
And that's what makes your life complete?
Yes, sir, without a doubt.
Well, what would you, this is going to be kind of a tough one to answer, but what about somebody who doesn't believe in Jesus? I mean, you know, like if, you know, there's numerous other religions.
Sure.
I mean, there's nothing wrong.
I'm not judging any religion at all.
Sure, but obviously they can't find Jesus Christ. You know, but what if they're in trouble like this? What would you say to them?
Well, I'd say whatever they believe in, they better turn to it.
So, but you think it should be...
Basically, everybody believes in God.
You think it should be...
Unless you're just a total antichrist, totally. You know, you just don't... You're... what's the word I'm looking for?
Atheist.
Atheist. Unless you're an atheist, then I say whatever God these people believe in, then they need to get
So you think
next to him.
It doesn't matter so much what you believe in, just that you turn to your God, you know, whatever he may be.
Well, I guess we'd have to say that, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to say, hey, people,
turn to Jesus, but
turn to Jesus.
You know, not everybody.
That's what the Bible says.
Not
everybody's going to believe that. And
yeah.
I'm not going to judge it. I'm not the judge.
Yeah.
Listen, the Bible tells me, judge not, lest you be judged. And so I don't want to be judging anybody about their religion or anything else. But I also know the Bible tells me that Jesus Christ was the Son of God. Now, that hasn't changed. That's been in there from day one. So evidently somebody, well, I know who it is, this man. He's just literally, like we've changed our laws, we've changed the Bible. Consequently, we got problems, you know. But I'm not here to discuss or to argue about who's right when it comes to religion.
I know that religion is very important in your life,
Jesus
and that's
Christ,
what.
Personally, I would suggest everybody to go that way, but naturally they're going to do what they want to. But I'm not going to knock their religion. No, I won't do that.
You just want them to, you know, be happy and not get into the drugs and that kind of stuff. Because that's what messes them up.
I think that'd be a great start right there. I think if parents would realize that. It's pretty hard to tell a kid to get off of drugs when you got a cocktail glass in your hand. I think. Maybe
so you think the parents have to set the example? You can't do one thing and then tell your kids to do another, which a lot of parents do.
That's right, and that's what happens. You know, kids get confused, and all of a sudden
they don't know what to believe.
I don't understand what's going on here. You know, my parents says get off of drugs, but it's all right for them to do it, but don't you do it? But yet in today's society, everybody's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And here again, if we don't get back with our youth, we're going to have problems. So, you know, again, I challenge, and I've done this periodically every show we've had so far, I challenge the parents, mostly, challenge them to get involved in an organization that can help these kids. If we don't help the kids' parents, what's going to happen is that the problem we have is going to cobalt. And over a period of time, it's going to get so out of hand that there'll be no control in it. And we'll have problems. They'll have to declare martial law or something, and maybe that's what everybody's looking for. I don't know. I personally don't think I would like it. You know, I like being free. I like walking around. I like being able to discuss with you. You know, I haven't told you that you were wrong about anything, or that whether you believed in my God or anything like that. I'm not here to argue that point. I'm just here to say what I believe in, what worked for me, what I've seen as I've grown up, things that have happened to me, and I share that with kids in hopes that they can turn their lives around too. And that's it.
Yeah, okay. Again, I'm going to ask you, who can you turn to if you can't turn to your parents? Who can kids turn to? And I guess parents too, because parents have the same problems.
Here again, there's a number of different organizations, a number of different people who care, who you can turn to. I think the first thing we need to point out, and most important of all, is that we need to turn to somebody. Don't think or feel like you have to do it yourself. There are people who will professionally help you, who care about you. Now, if you don't want to go to your church, or if you don't belong to a church, then try Tough Love. I believe they have, they're in the book, or you can get a hold of them. I'm sure it's not that hard. There's Peoria Hotline. Listen, folks, what about the police department? Oh, wow. Scared of the police, you know.
Yeah.
Understand something, that the police, they're supposed to help us. You know, I don't think anybody would bust you if you walked into the police department and said, hey, I got a problem. Maybe you can help me, or maybe you know somebody that can help me. Understand that those men get paid to do that job, and that they're supposed to do it right. And I'm sure there's some police men in this town who are good men who will help you. I'll tell you, some of my best friends now are policemen. You know,
that certainly wasn't the case 10 years ago, was it?
No, definitely not. Without a doubt. They were against me. But you know they're not against me now. They see what I'm doing. They see I've turned my life around. One of my best friends is Sergeant Detective Robbery Homicide, Los Angeles Police Department. He knew who I was. He knew
when you were bad.
Yeah, he knew it was bad, but he's probably my best friend now. So that just goes to show you that even though I was bad and I turned my life around, the guy's for me. You know, 100%. He's for what I'm doing. You know, you can call him. He'll tell you that the day's story means what he says. That I'm serious about what I'm doing. I love kids. I want to help them. I want to help anybody. But people, reach out to somebody. Reach out to. If you've got kids that are belligerent that you cannot control, get a hold of Teen Challenge. You know, there's a lot of people that can help you. Go to your church. Go to a pastor. Go to your priest. Whatever. Go to somebody. Do something. Don't just try to take it on yourself, because you might not understand the problem.
I'll tell you a question I've been thinking about all during these interviews is, how'd you ever get by all those years without ever getting thrown in prison? Doing those drugs and stuff, you know. I mean, you know,
John,
being a gang leader.
I probably had to be the luckiest guy in the world.
Really. It was just luck that you didn't get caught.
Without a doubt. You know, there was so much crime that I did that I never got caught for. It was unbelievable. And I was lucky. There were times that I should have been thrown in prison, I admit it. But I lucked out. And my best friend's in a Lone Pole prison right now for murder. He's a 3-time loser.
But you never murdered anybody, though, right?
No, not, you know, I never hurt anybody intentionally. I hurt a lot of people, but I never murdered anybody that I know of. And I wouldn't want to either. I have another friend, one of the very few guys that's left alive out of our group, that's still living and walking the streets in L.A. He's one of the baddest guys I've ever known in my life, man.
And he was with you then?
Yeah, and I often wondered how he stayed out of prison, but he's still out. Maybe it was the hand of God. I don't know. That doesn't stop me from going to prisons now and ministering to those men and trying to help them, because I do. You know, there's a need there too, and I want to help them. That's what it's all about. Helping. Folks, that's what it's all about, helping each other. You know, reach out a helping hand. Instead of walking across the street when somebody's getting beat up, go over there and give them a hand, man, and tell them, man, we don't need this stuff here. You know, why wait for a policeman to come out and do it? He might not get there in time. Let's get involved. Let's clean up our town. Let's clean up our community. Let's clean up the United States. Let's make it back to what it really was.
So that's your message to the people?
Without a doubt, yes.
Just clean up their acts.
Without a doubt. Let's get with it. Let's help. Let's reach out for each other. Maybe there's something I can do for you, man. Whatever. I don't know. That's what it's all about.
Well, this is our last show. I shouldn't say our last show. It's our last show with Dave's story, because obviously he can't stay here forever. I'm sure he wishes he could. But you're gonna be here for a week, right?
Right.
A week altogether, and
Well, actually,
doing
I'll be here more than that. We're going to be spending the biggest part of this month here in your area,
okay.
Peoria,
I'm
and
aware of
all
that.
over different areas.
Just the central Illinois
right.
area.
We'll probably get to all the schools.
What are there any other schools you'll be speaking at you'd like
yes,
to mention?
but I don't
so we
even
can.
got the names of them, so
Oh, okay.
I don't have my itinerary with me, so I couldn't tell you.
But you'll be around, so people want to hear you.
They'll hear me. I'll be in the newspaper, and hopefully I can help. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Not here to hurt anybody. Not here to argue or debate. I'm here to help.
Yeah. I do want to mention we'll probably be following up on this with other shows, possibly talking to students about the effects of your talks on them, and hopefully they did good, and we can talk to them. So this won't necessarily be our last show, but unfortunately Mr. Story won't be here. So I'd like to thank you a lot for granting these interviews with us, and of course for being here in Washington and hopefully helping all the people that you did.
I hope so too, John.
All right.
I've enjoyed
Thank you.
being here. Thank you.
Good night.